Alright, now comes the moment of truth. I have worked on this BMW for weeks. And it is now time to see if the fruits of my labor have paid off. Will this car start? Will this car run? Okay. Let's prime the fuel pump. The thing I don't like is I don't hear, I don't think, the pump from the back. Maybe this car's got enough insulation. You just can't hear it. Oh, please start. Oh, it starts! It works! Oh, I may have done it. Okay, let's see. What's our exhaust look like? Well, it doesn't look too healthy. It doesn't sound too healthy, but it does start. Sounds better up here, honestly. So I'll let this thing run and warm up. Assuming it runs long enough, we'll go over what we did. We replaced all three big radiator hoses. We replaced the thermostat and the gasket. We changed the coolant, only what was in the radiator, and we filled it back up with distilled water. So I need to let this thing cycle once, get everything out of the block into the radiator, and drain it again. And then rinse and repeat until it's pure water. And then, that's not a big deal. I think that's all that penetrating oil I sprayed on the oxygen sensor, honestly. So I don't think that's anything to worry about. That was a bitch to get off. Which brings my next thing to do was the oxygen sensor, which is right down here. And yeah, that's what that is. That's a penetrating oil burning. It's not a big deal. I will say that was a fucking pain in the ass though. Good God. And then lastly we did the... Let me open this up and make sure there's no pressure. I'll put that on if I need to. And then removed the idle air control valve and cleaned it. I replaced this boot and taped up this hose. Also pulled the spark plugs out and cleaned them. They were all fouled out. I changed the oil because it was full of gas, which I'm guessing was because this fuel pressure regulator had gone out. So once all this fucking smoke burns off my exhaust, we'll be able to check, make sure everything's good. I think I may have fixed this thing. I don't think it was the fuel injectors. No leaks. No coolant leak. No oil leak. I just gotta get the smoke out of here from that O2 sensor. So you can't even see where it is, unfortunately, but maybe you kind of can now. It's right in there. So I had to use the oxygen sensor removal tool from AutoZone, rented it, put a swivel socket on it, 3/8 drive, and then ran a shitload of extensions up to the top of the engine, and then had a breaker bar that was about 4 feet long, so I could break that thing loose. And once I broke it loose, I was able to get underneath of it with a 7/8 wrench and pull it off. This thing still sounds like it lopes a little. Like, it doesn't run as smooth as my Corvette, for example, but I mean, it's at least running now. It wasn't even doing that before. Start and stall. Start, sputter, stall, die, shake, all do be hell. Oh, and I also replaced the coolant temperature sensor. I forgot about that. Not the round one, but the blue one behind it, the one with the 2 prongs. That's the one for the cold start. Idle, I believe. So, I think we're good. We'll check back in a minute and see if it's still working. We're running for several minutes now. The smoke's mostly gone. The water temperature's rising. The front fan hasn't kicked on yet. And the back one, of course, goes with the engine, as long as it's running. Still running, but I mean, it's fairly steady, but it just shakes a lot. Now, several more minutes into this thing, we finally stopped smoking over here. Burned up all the penetrating oil. Starting to evaporate the moisture in the coolant. The fan still hasn't come on yet, but I don't know, what temperature it's supposed to come on. I don't know what temperature the engine is, because the goddamn gauges don't work. Except the speedo. Speedometer works. Nothing else works. Uh-oh. 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 It didn't die. I think it wants to, though. It's just so fucking loud sounding. The smoke is black. I can kind of see it. I can smell it, too. To be continued.